This episode is brought to you by VoiceGift. What if your family tree could speak? VoiceGift helps preserve the voices and stories that define your family, so they're never lost to time. Record memories from parents and grandparents, and link them to photos, albums, and heirlooms. Inspired by museum audio guides and designed to last, VoiceGift Play is an audio time capsule for generations. Find your voice at www.voice.gift. That's www.voice.gift. Welcome to the Family Tree Magazine podcast. I'm Andrew Koch, editor of Family Tree Magazine. Happy 2026. With the new year, we've made a couple changes to the podcast over here. For one, we now offer a video version of the show in addition to the audio-only version, and you can find that over on our YouTube channel, which I'll link to on the show notes page. For another change, Lisa Louise Cook has stepped down as host of our podcast. We are so immensely grateful for all she has done for this show since its first episode way back in 2008, and we're so excited, too, for the next step in her journey. We wish her all the best, and you should go check out what she's up to at lisalouisecook.com. On our previous episode of the podcast, our December episode, Lisa and I talked about some of these changes and what she's got coming up next, so you should go back in your podcast feed and give that a listen if you haven't already. So a little more about me. I have been on the podcast in various capacities over the years, but I am Andrew Cook. I'm the editor of Family Tree Magazine. I've been in that role since 2018, and I've been with Family Tree for even longer, about 10, 11 years now, first as an intern and then as the editor of our line of genealogy books. I really look forward to talking to the movers and shakers of the genealogy world through this show and learning what wisdom they have to share, plus give my own 2 cents along the way and behind-the-scene looks at what we've got going on here at Family Tree. With all that said, let's jump into today's episode. 2025 saw many popular genealogy tools release major updates, including several Family Tree building software programs. Among the most popular is Family Tree Maker, a program that's been around for decades, but has now released a long-anticipated update. I'm speaking with tech expert and longtime Family Tree contributing editor Rick Crume about the release, and what Family Tree Maker 2024 can maybe do for you. Let's get into it. I'm here with our longtime contributing editor to Family Tree, Rick Crume. He is our resident expert on genealogy technology and the mind behind InsideGenealogy.com. Last year, he taught an immersive course through Family Tree University on the updates to the popular Family Tree Maker software, and he wrote an article on the subject for our November-December issue in 2025. Welcome back to the podcast, Rick.
Hi, Andrew.
So, in general, and I'm speaking very broadly here, what features do Family Tree building software programs offer as opposed to, say, online family trees?
Yeah, well, both genealogy software on your computer and online family trees offer some of the same key functions. You can record information on your family tree, including names, dates, places, and relationships. You can also record your sources, which might include things like birth certificates, family Bible records, and personal interviews. And in both genealogy software and online family trees, you can link pictures and digitized records to people in your tree. And with all of that information that you've entered and the media files, you can create reports such as pedigree charts and family group sheets. And both online family trees and genealogy software on your computer can help you with your research. They can give you hints to records in online databases. They can automatically compose queries for the big genealogy websites. And so really there are a lot of similarities between genealogy software on your computer and online family trees. But there are some differences, some reasons why you might pick a desktop program over an online family tree.
Yeah, and can you tell us about some of those? You know, it seems like, again, speaking generally, because different programs have different features, different online trees have different features, but as a category.
Sure, desktop programs generally have more features than online family trees. Online family trees tend to focus just on the most basic functions. One area where genealogy software on your computer really has a lot more features is in creating charts and reports. And Family Tree Maker in particular really stands out in that area. The fact is, most people who use a desktop program to organize their genealogy information probably use it in addition to an online family tree. They might have their family tree in a program like Family Tree Maker, but they probably have an ancestry member tree too, and they probably use um, Family Search and maybe other major genealogy websites as well. So the thing is, the family tree on your computer, let's say in Family Tree Maker, can really serve as your research hub. You might have those online family trees, but keep a master tree in your desktop program, such as Family Tree Maker. And there's also another really good reason to have a desktop program if you have an Ancestry member tree. If you attach records from Ancestry.com to your Ancestry member tree, you will lose access to those records if you ever let your Ancestry.com subscription lapse. So, to retain access to those records, you can synchronize your Ancestry member tree with your Family Tree Maker tree on your computer, and that will copy the records from Ancestry to your computer so you can view them in Family Tree Maker even if you no longer have an Ancestry subscription.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that really touches upon, I think, two important aspects of this decision. If you want to use, not that you have to choose, like you said, between software and trees, you can use them together, but you know, when you have this online program, it's kind of non-denominational. You can use all these other tools and sort of flow them in to this one central place that you control and that you retain access to the records, like you said, even if your subscription lapses, a collection comes down for licensing reasons. Um, and the other piece, too, that I think strikes me is that most software programs are a one-time fee. So you pay whatever, $30, $80 for a license, and then you're done. But yeah, an Ancestry.com, a MyHeritage, you have to pay an ongoing subscription to access the full features.
Right. That's certainly an important distinction and an important advantage for desktop genealogy software.
Yeah. So Family Tree Maker specifically, and just to kind of give our listeners a little bit of context here, I remember when Ancestry sold Family Tree Maker to its current owner, Software Makiev, it was reported that they had something like an 80 or 90% market share. I mean, it's really kind of the big dog in the genealogy software business. So you mentioned reporting earlier as being a key feature of Family Tree Maker. What else do you think makes Family Tree Maker unique, sets it apart from other programs, and really makes it so popular among genealogists?
Sure. So Family Tree Maker, as I mentioned, is a full-featured program. It does just about anything you might want to do to organize your family research, conduct ongoing research through online databases, and prepare charts and reports, as we mentioned, to share your findings. And despite all of those features, it does come with a digital version of a 325-page companion guide. And it also has a very good on-screen help system. So even though it's a full-featured program and there's a lot to learn, it does have really good features to help you learn all of those features. And as I mentioned, as we both mentioned, Family Tree Maker really does excel at creating attractive, customizable charts, and that's something that um, online trees like Ancestry member trees really don't do much in. For example, in Family Tree Maker, you can create a variety of colorful family tree charts such as pedigree, descendant, bow tie, and fan charts, and you can add themed backgrounds, a border, and embellishments. So you can really create an attractive chart that you might want to display for yourself, or that make kind of nice gifts if you want to share your family tree with other relatives. And another feature that I think sets Family Tree Maker apart is the way it synchronizes with an Ancestry member tree.
Yeah.
Um, Family Tree Maker has single click synchronization with your Ancestry member tree. So it's very easy to keep your Ancestry member tree and your Family Tree Maker synchronized and up to date with each other. So that means you can make additions or changes to either the Family Tree Maker file on your computer or your online ancestry member tree. And when you sync those trees, the most recent updates will be added to the other tree. So you can do research either online on Ancestry or in Family Tree Maker and keep everything up to date.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. That, with as popular of a tool as Ancestry is, that the ease of use between the two programs really makes it an attractive option. Um,
Mhm.
and Family Tree Maker is also sort of syncing with Family Search. There's the caveat, of course, that it's not going to try to import the whole Family Search family tree. You have to kind of draw some guidelines around it. But I know that's another very popular tool too that I think Family Tree Maker sets itself apart by working nicely with.
Yes, for sure. You can download a portion of the family search family tree, the portion that pertains to your family, and you can compare your tree to the family search family tree and update the family search family tree as you see appropriate based on information in your own family tree maker file.
Yeah, and that really supports this idea that your software is a working, living system, a hub that kind of can push information out to other places and receive information. So,
Mhm.
I kind of, I know this is sort of a nitpicky kind of question, but Family Tree Maker 2024 came out in 2025. I remember um, the company taking pre-orders for it at Roots Tech 2024. So, w- can you talk a little bit about what happened there and what is new about this edition?
Sure. Matt Kiev was aiming for a 2024 launch for the upgrade of Family Tree Maker. And as so often happens with software updates, it took longer than they expected. And it wasn't really released until May of 2025. But they, for some reason, decided to keep the 2024 label. I
Yeah.
suppose, they had announced that it was going to be Family Tree Maker version 2024, and maybe they had already materials with that name in it, so it would have been hard to change it. So anyway, it wasn't released until May 2025,
Mhm.
but when it finally came out, there are a number of important new features in this program. One thing you really notice right away and that I really appreciate is that the program launches faster. It used to be frustrating that it took so long just to start the Family Tree Maker program, and now it starts at a reasonable speed. Another feature previously, the turn back time feature let you undo a change made up to 1,000 changes ago. And now you can undo a change made up to 5,000 changes ago. So it
Huh.
keeps track of, all of the edits you've made, and you can go back and easily correct one of those changes if you made a mistake. Another new feature, the new Connect workspace lets you share your family tree with your relatives so they can view your tree on a free mobile app, and they can also attach sticky notes to the tree so they show up on your Family Tree Maker tree. Another new feature is called Easy on the Eyes, and it lets you enlarge areas of the people workspace while you are working on them. So the text actually is made bigger on your screen. And so that's helpful. Family Tree Maker does manage to cram a lot of information on the screen with a pedigree chart, a family view, and individual view kind of all at once. So it can be kind of overwhelming and cluttered, but this feature, easy on the eyes, at least makes entering and editing information a little easier. The new version, Family Tree Maker 2024, also has a few new tools for repairing old photos. You can remove dust and scratches from photos.
Yeah, and I think that Connect workspace is especially interesting because that's one of the drawbacks of working on, this program is on my desktop and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. And in Online Tree, you can log in, if you have a browser, log in from anywhere, and you can just send somebody a link to your tree. But it's more of a challenge to kind of rope people into your genealogy world if they don't sort of, they don't know what a GEDCOM file is, or,
Sure.
you know,
Sure.
might not know how to interpret a research report. So that is really interesting. And the mobile app, I think, that's a nut that a few programs have tried to crack. And so it's encouraging to see the program take a step in that direction. And another thing we haven't mentioned yet about Family Tree Maker is that it is compatible with both Mac and PC. There are some programs that are still only for one or the other. Now you mentioned the Connect workspace. So in the article that we published in the magazine, and there's also a version online that I'll link to in the show notes, the program's kind of divided into these workspaces. So can you talk a little bit about what that system is like? And I don't know that we need to go through every workspace, but where are the key features and how do they kind of interact with each other?
Sure. So Family Tree Maker is divided into 8 workspaces. They're accessible from the tabs at the top of the screen within the program. And I can give you a quick overview of what each one does if you'd like.
Yeah, sure.
First, there's the Plan workspace. That's for building, importing, and syncing family trees. So you can start a new tree by entering information by hand. You can import a GEDCOM file or a Family Tree Maker file. You can also download a tree from Ancestry or Family Search, or restore a file that you backed up with the program's Tree Vault feature. So there are a number of different ways you can create a new file in Family Tree Maker. And you can also, as we mentioned, sync your Family Tree Maker tree with an Ancestry member tree. So that's all functions you can do in the Plan workspace. Another workspace is called the People workspace. That's where you add and edit people's profiles to the family tree. And it has 2 tabs. Under the Tree tab, you'll find an index of names, the Tree Viewer, and the Family Group View. So, as I mentioned, they cram a lot onto one screen, but that does give you a good overview of your file and lets you, easily navigate through the generations of your family tree. The other tab is the Person tab, and in that tab, you can create facts for a person, not only birth, marriage, and death, but also events like immigration, military service, and residence. And so that's where you do most of your editing on individual people. A third workspace is the Places workspace, and that's where you can track ancestral hometowns and addresses. So it lets you visualize locations that you have added to facts in your tree. So you can see, for example, everybody who has a fact for a particular place. Maybe you're focusing research in a certain county, and you want to find everybody in your file who is somehow associated with that place. You can do that through the Places workspace. Another workspace, the Media workspace, is where you upload photos and document images, also audio files and videos. So you can view all of the photos and videos that you've attached to profiles in your tree, and you can customize file captions and add descriptions. A fifth workspace, the Sources workspace, is where you manage citations, records, and documents. So, of course, it's important to record where you found your information, whether it's maybe just through a personal interview with a relative, or maybe in a document from a courthouse or something that you found online. So, in the Sources workspace, it collects all of those sources that you have cited throughout your tree, and you can manage them. And Family Tree Maker has customizable source templates to
Right.
help you document many types of sources. So, of course, the information that you would want to record when you're citing, let's say, a personal interview,
Mhm.
is quite a bit different than the pieces of information you need to record when citing, let's say, a birth certificate from a courthouse. Another workspace, the publish workspace, that's where you can create family tree charts and reports and even create books. For example, the genealogy reports can be either in ancestor or descendant format, and you can really put everything together in a published book that incorporates all of the information you found along with pictures and source documentation with an index and table of contents, or really a full featured book. There's also the web search workspace, and that's where you can look for records on genealogy websites. So Family Tree Maker can search Ancestry.com and Family Search for historical records pertaining to people in your family tree. So it will look at the information that you have entered and find likely matches in those historical records online. And finally, the newest workspace, the Connect workspace, lets you share your work and collaborate with relatives. So this is a new feature in Family Tree Maker 2024, as we mentioned. So it lets you invite guests to your tree, and you can also take your research on the go and with the mobile app. It's the Family Tree Maker Connect app that works on smartphones and tablets, and it also lets members view your tree and provide feedback on your work. They can actually attach sticky notes to your tree that you can then view. That's a quick overview of the 8 workspaces in Family Tree Maker.
Yeah, and that's a really helpful overview. Thank you. And like you said, Family Tree Maker throws a lot of data at you. And so, yeah, it can be helpful to think about, okay, here are the different tabs, these different workspaces that specialize in different things that you'll use for different things. Um, and while I was working on the article and while you were giving us that overview, now it occurred to me that they kind of come in, these workspaces are kind of you could group them 3 different ways, say. There's the plan workspace, which is really mostly when you first start your file. You're probably not going to spend a whole lot of time there beyond that. Then there's the people workspace, where you will spend most of your time, has, the documenting, the attaching records, attaching media, entering information. And then the places, media, and sources workspaces, they're all kind of referencing information you've put in the people space. And you can just kind of see all the media items at once, all the sources at once, all the places at once. And so they can appear, in both places. And then I guess it was four different categories of these workspaces. But the fourth one, it's all about going out. So publishing reports, connecting with other collaborators or the mobile app, and then the web search, looking for information abroad at other places. So I don't know if that would help listeners too kind of make sense of like, wow, there's a lot to do here. And, um, I think part of the benefit of software, as we've discussed, is that you have all these options. You might not avail all of them to your to your research, but they're there.
Right. And even though there are 8 workspaces, that sounds kind of overwhelming. But as you
Mhm.
pointed out, you'll probably spend most of your time in the people workspace,
Mhm.
editing and viewing your tree. So it's not like you have to jump back and forth all the time between all those different workspaces.
Exactly. Yeah. So, we've talked a little bit about this already, but in your opinion, what are Family Tree Maker's strengths, and then what are some of its weaknesses as a family tree builder?
Sure. So among the program's strengths, as we've mentioned, it really has a lot of features. You can do just about anything you might want to do to organize and record and share your ongoing genealogical research. You can record your family history, cite your sources, attach pictures and documents and create terrific charts and reports. And despite all of those features, the program is still pretty easy to use.
Mhm.
And as we mentioned, it comes with an excellent 325-page
Mhm.
manual in electronic format. And as we also mentioned, it works well with online family trees, so you can synchronize your family tree maker tree with an ancestry member tree with a single click. And to some degree, it helps you work with the family search family tree as well. So those are some of the key strengths of the program. As for weaknesses, well, having a lot of features is a strength, but it can also be a weakness. It can be a little overwhelming. The program is geared for people who are fairly serious about
Mhm.
researching their family history. If you have just a passing interest in genealogy and just want to let's say, quickly record your family history and you don't plan to do a lot of research, a simpler program might be a better option. For example, you could create an Ancestry member tree for free. You don't actually need a paid Ancestry membership just to use the Ancestry member tree feature. And you could also use the Family Search family tree, which is completely free. So those would be two options just to, let's say, quickly record some information, maybe quickly do some research, and not spend a lot of time reading a manual or learning how to use a program. As for other weaknesses in the program, well, actually, Family Tree Maker has a lot of customized templates for many types of sources,
Mhm.
and that's definitely a strength that lets you, you know, properly document where you found your information, and you can create a large variety of reports with proper numbered footnotes and indexes and table of contents. But if you just want something simpler and your goal isn't to create, a huge family history book, again, online family trees make this process of documenting your sources simpler. Ancestry member trees in particular, I think, have a really good system for documenting your sources. It's easy to visualize
Mhm.
which sources document a particular fact. So when you view a person's information in an ancestry member tree, it actually draws lines from each fact to the sources that document that fact. So, for example, if you have a census record, it will draw a line to the citation to that census record. And you can even click on that link and then view an image of the original census record. So it's really easy to visualize where you found each piece of information.
And sorry if I can,
Go ahead.
and I think it's also hard to overlook the fact that the records are in Ancestry, and so it's easy to find it and attach it. And at Family Tree Maker, there's at least the extra step of syncing, but there could also have to be, you know, kind of configuring the information you find in a record in the software program. And as you pointed out, that kind of more introductory, friendly user experience at Family Tree or at Family Search, Ancestry, MyHeritage might not be as appealing or might be more appealing to people than this kind of more professionally minded, more kind of scholarly approach at, a family tree maker.
Sure. Yeah. And another area in which there might be room for improvement in Family Tree Maker, I think the Family Search Family Tree does a better job with pictures and source documents with
Mm,
media in general. So you
mhm.
can organize family photos and records into albums in the Family Search Family Tree. And those albums really show off these pictures, and it's easy to share an
Yeah.
album with your relatives. So you might create separate albums for different branches of your family and send somebody a link, let's say, with all of the pictures and documents for the Jones family.
Mhm.
And those pictures and documents can be linked to personal profiles in the Family Search family tree. So I think that's a good way to be able to share your findings with your relatives. And since the Family Search Family Tree is completely free, they just need to register for a free account, and they can view. They can use everything on FamilySearch.org for free. So overall, Family Tree Maker is an impressive program with a lot of features, but it could be that for some people who have more of a passing interest in genealogy, maybe an online family tree might be a more appropriate choice.
Yeah, and it all really depends on the needs of your research. And just to kind of throw out some other options, there's Roots Magic is probably maybe the most comparable program in that it's compatible with Ancestry and Family Search. It's been around for a long time. It's available for Mac and PC. So there's Roots Magic. There are two options that I can think of off the top of my head. Mac Family Tree, which as the name implies is only available for Mac, and Legacy Family Tree, which is a program only available for PC. So, those are kind of platform specific options. And then Family Tree Builder is a totally free option that is owned by MyHeritage and has a lot of play with MyHeritage. So, you know, there are other options. And, I can link in the show notes to our comparison of the different programs if people are interested. To go back to what you said about the media on Family Search, I know you've written before about the, the kind of albums that you put together, and it's really robust. I mean, you had a PDF on there that was like 100 pages that, it just lives on Family Search. And yeah, you can generate a link and share it around. And if you have questions for a relative, hey, who's in this picture, you can just pop the link in. And yeah, it makes it very easy.
Yeah, and I think the Family Search Family Tree is an especially good option, for preserving and sharing family photos and documents like family Bible records, old family letters,
Mhm.
diaries, things that are one of a kind documents. And for a couple of reasons, the Family Search is free. The Family Search Family Tree has an excellent system for organizing and displaying those records, and it's easy to share them with other people. And I should mention one other thing too, since the goal of the Family Search Family Tree is to have just a single profile for each person. That means that there's usually just one place to look for information on a particular person. And that's in strong contrast to Ancestry member trees, where each person has their own member tree. And there's, of course, massive duplication between the millions of family trees on Ancestry. And it's not easy to search all those trees for all the trees that mention a particular person or that might have information on a person that isn't in other member trees. And so, in contrast, there's just one profile for each person in the Family Search Family Tree. So, one place to look for all of that information on that person.
Yeah, and it's in contrast to the software model, not just Family Tree Maker, but other programs where it's very siloed. It's in this closed system of your desktop, which can be a good thing and a bad thing. But you have to take at least like I said, at least an extra step to share it. So that's a little bit about Family Tree Maker, a tour, what's new in 2024. Um, as we said, the developer is Software Makiev, and you can purchase a copy of the program or license through their website. If you have a previous version, you can generally upgrade for a lower fee, if I have that right. And you can also buy a printed version of this guide that we've mentioned kind of throughout our talk here, this companion guide that has all this helpful research information. And just as a point of clarification, because we do get this question, Family Tree Magazine, Family Tree Maker, similar names, different entities. Um, we we work with the folks at Family Tree Maker. You can actually buy a subscription to Family Tree Magazine as you're signing up for Family Tree Maker, but we are different companies. We don't get a kickback for selling a license or anything. So just kind of in the interest of full disclosure. Um, so it's been great catching up with you, Rick. And can you tell us about where we can find you online besides on our website and in the pages of Family Tree Magazine?
Sure. So I have a fairly new website at insidegenealogy.com, and the main feature of that is a genealogy checklist. So the purpose of the checklist is to help you organize your research. It is a checklist of key sources that you should check, and it has links to online databases so you can check them off as you use them. The links go to both subscription websites like Ancestry and free websites like Family Search. And you can also make notes of your findings. And there are two versions of the checklist. The free version just covers sources in Family Search, while the paid version covers not only Family Search, but a lot of other websites as well. So these are PDF files that you download, and you can make copies of them. Let's say you could make a separate copy for each family you're researching, or each person you're researching, or each branch of your family, depending on how much research you're doing on those people.
Sounds very helpful. And talking about overwhelming options, when you get to a Family Search and Ancestry, all the collections can be so overwhelming. So kind of being able to link directly to, all right, here's the 1950 census, here's, Social Security Death Index, that I think is really valuable. I know that's something we try to do in the magazine too, is if we're talking about a specific collection, here's the link so you don't have to go look for it.
Sure.
Because it can be kind of a process.
Yeah. And there are, of course, a lot of online record collections besides just Ancestry and Family Search and MyHeritage and Find My Past. There are a lot of other free websites that you don't want to overlook that have important collections. So those are included in the checklist as well.
That's great. Well, thanks so much, Rick. And we will see you in the pages of Family Tree.
Okay. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you. Thanks for joining me in this month's episode of the Family Tree Magazine podcast. You can find the show notes from this episode and all episodes at familytreemagazine.com/podcast. While on our website, you can also sign up for our free email newsletter where you'll receive free genealogy resources each weekday, including links to new podcast episodes as they're released. Until next time, have fun climbing your family tree.